This is my second video in a series tentatively titled Let Me Hold Your Hand, where I'm explaining the basics of investing and financial literacy for those that are starting to get serious about their finances. I'm not a financial professional, and you should definitely talk to one of those instead of me. None of this is advice. This is just stuff I had to learn on my own and wish someone had told me. So last time we covered a couple different investment vehicles like stocks and ETFs, as well as how to set up a brokerage account. But how much money do you actually need to invest at one time? That's not an easy question to answer, and the answer will vary from person to person. I like to say only invest what you're willing to lose, but what does that actually mean? Generally, if you are completely broke, unable to pay your bills, or have a lot of high interest debt, you should focus on that before throwing money at a brokerage firm. The only caveat that you'll see for that from most financial professionals is investing the minimum required to get the match from your employer-sponsored retirement plan. If your company offers like a 3% match or whatever for your 401k, you're basically leaving money on the table and giving yourself a pay cut if you don't take advantage of that. So that's our caveat. That's our exception. However, outside of that exception, if you cannot keep your lights on, you are not ready to invest heavily. You either need to get a better job, an additional job, or, and I hate to say this one because this is the one people don't like, you need to get better at money management. A lot of people will spend money on things that they consider essentials and then wonder how they're going to pay their phone bill. If any of that sounds like you're not to this step yet, and that's okay. As long as you're not dead, you still have time to turn things around. You may have noticed that I specified high interest debt. Low interest debt usually encompasses things like mortgages, student loans, stuff like that. High interest debt may be like payday loans, credit cards, and even some cars. Interest loans are those with interest rates higher than your average stock market returns. Many advisors, not me because I'm not a financial advisor and you should talk to one of those, recommend paying off high interest debt as quickly as possible while making the minimum payments on low interest debt. This is because you can usually make more money investing the extra from your low interest debt in the stock market in relation to the interest that you would save by paying it off early. Personally, I just don't like being in debt, and for anything outside of my student loans, I work to pay off as quickly as possible. I don't like paying bills, and the less that comes out of my bank account, the easier it is to track, honestly. So let's say you don't have any high interest debt and you're pretty good at keeping your lights on. Do you have an emergency fund? While some people over the past few years have advocated for keeping your emergency fund in your brokerage firm, I think that's stupid. I am way too untrusting for that. I know that mega crashes like 1929 and 1987 don't happen often, but I would absolutely hate for the market to go belly up on Monday and a tornado to hit my house on Tuesday. So I have 6 to 12-ish months of my living expenses in a high yield savings account. Just in case I decide to up and quit my job or something horrific happens and I need the money, I don't have to sell off all my stocks that may be doing well in order to feed myself. You definitely do not have to have that much set aside in order to start investing. As long as you have like $1,000 or 1 month worth of expenses, usually you can feel pretty good about getting started. An emergency fund, more than anything, provides peace of mind so that you don't have to sit there and watch all of your money go down the drain if something awful happens. It's also a lot easier to access quickly if you need it. So once you're out of high interest debt, you can pay your bills and you have a little bit saved up. So if you break your leg, you don't starve, then it's time to invest. How much? That depends on your confidence level and where you're investing. I cannot stress enough how important it is to take advantage of your investment plans, like a 401k, employee stock purchase program, anything like that. Most of the work is done for you. You usually just have to fill out a form, check it once or twice a year, and leave it the hell alone. For those, you can usually choose a pre or post-tax account. Pre-tax means you're not paying taxes on it now, you're paying taxes on it when you withdraw it later when you're older. And post-tax means you're going to go ahead and pay the taxes on it now instead of later down the line. There are different reasons you may choose one over the other. I personally chose post-tax because I think taxes will actually get higher by the time that I'm ready to withdraw when I'm old. I don't want to lose a larger chunk of my pie. This may not be the best reasoning. It may not be completely correct. I'm not a financial advisor, and I'm learning all of this on my own. If you are ready to invest in a brokerage account that you manage yourself, you have a lot more freedom on when and how much to contribute, in addition to more choices of investing. Again, you should not contribute your last $20 if you're going to need it, and only invest what you would give to someone else and never see again. There is always a chance you make a bad call and lose all of your money. It's just the nature of the game. This is not gambling. So if you're smart about it and you don't throw your money at some crazy bad ideas, you're not likely to lose everything. But again, this is not where you should be putting your emergency fund, according to a lot of people. I'm not a financial advisor. I personally just started out with $20 just to learn how the apps worked. I made a lot of bad choices. I learned about a bunch of different scams and a lot of marketing that goes on. And then I started investing my job bonuses, the Trump bucks that came out of COVID, stuff like that. Money I didn't need, and that was nice to have, but I did not depend on. Another question I get asked by people is how many shares to buy at one time, which is a question that breaks my brain every time for a few different reasons. First, it completely depends on how much you're buying and how much money you want to spend at one time. Second, it depends on your strategy. My strategy for like $500 may be different than someone else's. Some people do this thing called dollar cost averaging, where they buy the same stock or the same set of stocks on a regular basis. It gives them a better average for the price that they bought it across time and allows them to grow their investments in that company or those companies gradually. It's a great idea. It's a great way to invest. I don't do that. I decide how much money I want to invest, and then I divide up my money highest to lowest. So if I have $500 and want to buy across 3 stocks, either that I've just finished researching or that I've researched previously, I might be buying 1 of this one, 2 of the next one, or whatever. This is like full disclosure, and I probably shouldn't tell any of you guys this. To me, it's a fun game as getting as close to 0 as possible, like a brain teaser. I know that I can buy fractional shares. Like if I want 1.5 of this one, like I know I can do that. I just don't like seeing all those decimal points on my dashboard. Again, I am not a professional and I am a bit weird. Obviously, if you own more stock in a company, you feel those dips and peaks a bit more, which is great one direction and feels pretty shitty in the other. Less stocks across more industries or companies gives you less exposed to risks, but also less exposed to the rewards. You do not have to invest a lot at one time, especially not to start. The saying about how time in the market will always outperform trying to time the market. You will hear me say that a lot. This means that leaving your money invested for longer will generally be more profitable than trying to align your buying and selling with the market conditions or the day-to-day events. Yes, time is important. I often talk about the Republican presidency versus Democratic presidency profitability, as well as what happens to the market if a president kicks the bucket. But if you're really being smart about it, you don't have to worry about outside factors as much, and you don't have to constantly babysit your account like you would with like day trading or investing in something extremely volatile. I hate doing that. I don't want to have to look at things every day. You don't need 3 monitors and an MBA to make consistent progress. And so this was part 2. If you want me to expand on something, or if you have questions you want incorporated into future parts, please let me know. Follow along for more non-advice like this.